everybody.
What's going on, everybody?
Yep, that's right. My name's John. He's
I'm
Dennison.
Dennison here. Yep.
Yeah, man, it is. There's either a war going on over my apartment, or there's some thunder going.
Thunder, man.
Oh yeah, severe weather.
Oh,
Oh,
there you go. Hey, breaking
been,
up that heat.
oh man, would have been good. You never want a severe thunderstorm watch overnight, so here we are.
No,
Let me get this thing shared, man.
do it, man. Get it shared. Get it out to those people. I'm gonna do the same thing so that way my people see it. Your people see it. My people see it. We
My
got
people
people out
share with
here.
your people. Yeah,
Exactly. We got people
you
out here. We
you
out here,
always
bro.
yeah. We out here. You always want it shared with your people, man.
Of
That's
course.
a little known fact about podcasting. Um, okay, so today we're doing a late night podcast, technically Thursday, as promised.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we do a weekly podcast on Thursdays, and we are talking about deep fakes and
Mm-hmm.
the battle against them. It turns out that Intel has developed artificial intelligence that will combat AI deepfakes. This is something we've seen develop over a time. There's either a guy, or there's not either. There's also a guy on YouTube that's famous for doing Tom Cruise deepfakes, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so some of them are for fun, but I don't know how that's going to hold up after this technology goes mega.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, But yeah, so this is a growing problem, right? Especially as we get forward or closer to a new campaign year. I remember this was talked about in 2018. It was talked about in 2020. But this is going to be the big one for sure, especially since
Mm-hmm.
AI has grown so much just in the past 8 months or become
Mm-hmm.
so much more mainstream, really. People are going to be trying to deepfake people, and I've already seen deepfake TikTok and stuff.
Have you?
Um, yeah, and I look at the comments, and sometimes it's people saying completely outrageous things, like Joe Biden saying he's going to spin the block on somebody, right, and pull
Mhm.
up his gat. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Obviously, Joe Biden didn't say that.
Yeah.
But some of them do attempt to be real. I've maybe seen a couple on TikTok that do,
Mhm.
and for me, it's easy to see because typically these are amateurs doing it and sharing it on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people can't tell. You can tell that by the comments, man. Yeah, what do you think about this issue? Because it's definitely getting bigger, huh?
Yeah, no, I think it is, and I think it'll continue to get bigger, like you said, as the democratization of AI has happened and continues to happen. I think this technology will just get more and more advanced as well as easier to use, right? Because when you're getting stuff out to the masses, people start to tinker with it. You're adding new people to the idea train, right? Um, whether that be or that is a good thing and a bad thing, right? So yeah, I think it's really interesting. It's an interesting concept. It's kind of something that we never would have thought um, would ever be in existence. 10 years ago, really. You
Yeah,
know
no way would you think about something like this.
exactly. So it's kind of crazy, right? Because
Yeah,
everybody's always like, you know, if you don't have pictures, if you don't have a video, or whatever like that, it didn't happen.
and now
Now,
it still may not have happened. That's the
exactly,
crazy thing about it, man.
exactly. You can have pictures and videos, but those still may not be real.
I know, man. So then Dennison also tells me just a couple minutes ago that actors that are on strike right now are fighting for the fact that some production companies want to do an AI rendering of extras, so they can have the extras do whatever they want in the background and not have to hire extras, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, taking the cheap way out. But that's on tap too, man, to make full on renderings of people moving and doing whatever you want. So these are things that have to be monitored so we can
Mhm.
continue to know what's real and what's not. It is kind of mind blowing that the same people, not the same people, some people are making business out of creative AI, and other people's are
Mhm.
making business out of AI that will make sure you know what's real and what's not. It's
Yeah.
wild. It's wild. So, with all that said, we got a good one on tap, but let's go ahead and smack right into it. I said that again, dude.
You
I was
did, man.
I was laughing about from the last one I did with you. I said smack right into it, and I was like, why did I say smack? Like I'm not trying to hit anybody, dude. So that's fine. Well, we're smacking into it again.
Mhm. We're
Ooh.
smacking them with that sweet, sweet information, man.
For sure. That's a big thunder strike, dude.
Ooh.
That was a big one. I think God just hit a strike, dude. That's what I was always told, man. Those big thunder booms, God's just bowling, man.
Exactly. Super, super thunder, man. He's just having a good time. That's all.
I know, man. I tell you, he's been in the league lately, dude. He's been playing in the league lately, man.
he's been in there, man. He's been in
Yeah, he's been getting in his bag. There's been a lot of storms up here.
it.
Um,
That's crazy. We've
it's
just had
crazy,
nothing but heat, man. Nothing but heat and sunshine.
man. Them Mayflower, those April showers, they've been taking place in June and July, dude. I'm telling you, that's wild. So, all right, let's run the intro. Three, two, one. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the catch up. I put that extra mustard on that one, dude.
Mm-hmm. Me too, man. Jump
Put the
right on into
put the mustard and the ketchup on that joint, bro.
it.
All right, here we go. Most people didn't know I could do that. Three, two, one. Before we jump further into this topic, we want to remind you guys the three best ways to support this show. Number one, I'm not getting any visual aids this week. That's a bummer.
No,
That's
no, no, no.
three.
I got you. I
Yeah,
got
that was, but we'll believe it. One, there it is.
you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, you were a little slow in the stream for some
Yeah,
reason, bro.
I noticed. I noticed it got a little bit laggy there. It's
Yeah,
weird.
well, I mean to call you out, man. I thought you were just sitting there.
No,
I
no,
was like,
not
I
at
need
all.
my visual aids, man. All right, number one is give us a rating and review wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, even if it's on Facebook or YouTube, of course, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. It helps us continue to grow and get us out in front of more potential viewers and listeners. Number two, jump on the live stream with us. We're live every Thursday night on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can jump in on the conversation with us at real time. And it always allows for a great back and forth with our listeners and get to hear what you guys are talking about with these topics. And number three, whoa, that's a flex. Oh, that was never mind. But still, you got two phones. You got two phones, man. You Rick Gates over here. The Rick Gates of podcasting, everyone. Dennison Rice. So number three is if you want to support us monetarily, we have a shop with some great, good, clean merch. I'm talking shirts, I'm talking hats, I'm talking phone cases, I'm talking mugs, I'm talking long sleeves, I'm talking hoodies, I'm talking a lot. So
mm-hmm.
go ahead and check that out. There's something cool that you'll definitely like. And it will help support this show as we do pay to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
So we got all that out of the way, man. But yeah, let's jump into this topic a little bit more here. So, I know that, like we said, Intel, and I'm sure they're not alone. They're just the only one that's making news about it right now.
Mhm.
Um, but they've developed an AI, the groundbreaking efforts
Mm.
uh, that will notice deepfakes. So, what are deepfakes if you're a noob, right? A
Mhm.
deepfake is if I am talking like this, right? Blah, blah, blah. People notice
Mhm.
my movements and they can basically freeze frame a video, right? So I'm like this. But they have all that data of me going like this and talking, moving around, how I move my mouth. And then they
Mhm.
just plug in what I would say. And, it does basically an algorithmic take based off my mouth movements and what vowel sounds came out that time.
Mhm.
And it can have me saying, I, in fact, do not like Chick fil A. I'm more of a Panda Express kind of guy, which would be the biggest lie we've ever told. So if you ever see that deep thing, don't believe it. Um, but yeah, so that's basically what a deep fake is. Now the problem is when it comes to famous people, right? But
Mhm.
perhaps, well, definitely more importantly, political leaders, right? You don't want to have somebody provoking someone else that could potentially start a war.
Mhm.
It's all a deep fake, you know.
Mhm.
And so it's important to have these technologies that would prevent that, would be able to see how it, if these are deepfakes or not using it as artificial intelligence. Now, the places I'm sure, I'm sure the US government already has these technologies in place. Major world powers would have something like that, but it's the smaller countries, the ones with less access to things, I
Mhm.
think are at risk of deepfakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, even eventually getting this technology out to the public is also great because, there's tons of people who could have, like, I've heard streamers, right, have had this type of issue happen where it's videos of them. To be more specific, I've heard it more happening with female streamers, but
Hmm.
doing like a them videos of them doing like explicit things or whatever like that because they're using the deep fakes. People are using the deep fakes to put essentially their face on these explicit videos or whatever like that. Um,
Wow.
and having this type of software would be incredibly helpful. Um, to kind of helpful in the litigation of these, right? Because now you can definitively say, this isn't me, this wasn't me, this wasn't anything that I did. This is, a deep fake or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point too. And wait, did you say streamers? Da,
Yeah.
da, ba, that's
Yeah,
I.
man. Yeah, streamers, yeah, us. We could be a people who could have gotten caught from that, Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you really think about it, whenever these deepfakes are done, they're usually done with people who have a lot of where there's been a lot of data that you can get off of them, like voice data, image data, face data, all that good stuff. And so the better that, or the more information that they have, the easier it is for them to be able to um well, do these crazy deep fakes.
Yeah, which you're right, man. I would almost guess that, of course, after government entities buy this or use it, not all are going to use it. City and county might have to have something bad happen before they decide to use that.
Mhm.
But it really will work into the favor of, famous streamers, famous
Mhm.
actors, obviously, news personalities. Um, Yeah. Just imagine a Mr. Beast video where he's like, I dumped 10,000 babies into the Colorado River. Yeah.
Watch me do it now.
Yeah. I, that's like the thumbnail. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't. Those would be the type of bad things, that could happen.
Mhm.
Maybe not that. That's kind of a joke, but I was because you know how he always does those like, uh, I gave 1,000 blind people the ability to see.
Mhm.
Dude, yeah, like I was like, what? So anyway, these are the risks, I believe. Now it's very interesting how this works, dude, and
Mhm.
kind of two parts of this for me, but one of the main things, right, is that this technology will do something where it like focuses on subtle changes versus what
Mhm.
how it really act, like subtle changes in the colors of our veins, right? Like when we talk, our veins are one of the things that can change color when we get into it, right? When we get into a discussion, right?
Mhm.
So that's interesting. Um, how is it able to detect those small things versus deep fake, let's say?
Well, I mean, I'll say that, I would imagine they're sticking this AI on a video for a much longer period of time. So that way it can do a better job of just getting that info. But then it also like any AI, at least currently, it has to be fed a lot of data for training.
Yeah,
So I would imagine in some ways this would work similar to kind of like, you know, when you're trying to have a dog, sniff out a scent for you or
yeah,
whatever like that, a bloodhound, right?
yeah,
Um, it would be something similar to that, I would imagine, for these AI, right? They have to get enough information about you, enough facial data, all that good stuff, to be able to determine whether something, you know, like you said, these minute details.
yeah, that can be
Oh, excuse me.
perceived, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
which I mean, can you imagine how minor that is, the change in color of our veins while we talk?
Mhm.
Because that's the thing, like I described earlier in this episode, it would take a still movement of you and then make you say whatever it wants, right? And so those wouldn't change. I mean, those color in your veins wouldn't change.
Yep.
My one thing I was thinking about was, wouldn't you have to have a good picture? Like you'd have to have a really good camera image, right? Like you couldn't be streaming at 360p and it'd be like, oh, that's a deep fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably true for the most part. I mean, um yeah, I mean, it would need to have as much data on you as possible, right? As
Yeah,
many shots, all that good stuff. And most likely that's probably would be a part of their process. You would essentially, like I said, like a bloodhound in some ways, but you would essentially have it um, gather all of that information and then just feed it directly into the AI itself and then determine like, okay, is this a something that was created by another AI or is this a, completely something else and is this the real person or whatever like that.
yeah. Um, Interesting. No, I think I've talked about this on here a while ago. And I think it was negatively. We talked about this years ago, talking about AI before it ever became consumer available. And I was talking about the movie Eagle Eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that came out in like '08, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or '09. Might have been
Something
'09.
like that.
So anyway, this is about a sentient AI that is supposed to be for national security, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it basically, by doing that, strips people of its freedom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, when Shia LaBeouf's character, he's the main character in this, finds out how to shut it down, he's like driving towards where it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like turning all the traffic lights red, trying to stop him from getting there. It's doing all these crazy things because it has access to it. But what really shook me, which turns out to pretty much be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he and some other government officials were in this room. And I think they were talking about the concerns of this AI, right?
Mhm.
And they were in this room, and one of them had just gotten poured a fresh coffee. And the AI used one of its cameras because it was like a full, like mechanical being inside of this room too, which made no sense.
Yeah, it
But
was.
oh wait, I guess it did hack into a different camera. But anyway, so this one camera turns and looks at the room that these guys are in. It sees the coffee that
Mhm.
is just been poured fluttering, right? From the
Mhm.
vibrations of them talking, and is able to analyze the vibration of that liquid to know what they were saying in that room.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That freaked me out, dude. I was like 15 when I watched that.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my god, I'm
You
terrified.
know,
But
you
now it
know.
seems like so plausible, dude.
Well, in some ways it is actually plausible. I mean, there's already programs out there that can, um, I guess I should say, PSA. If you're ever on a stream or some sort of video or whatever like that, and you're typing your password, don't type it or delete the audio, I should really say, because there's programs that can detect what keys you were typing based on um, the sound of the key being pressed.
Dude,
So,
I'm gonna just
um,
go like this from now on. I'm gonna just shut it off first so they won't know. I'm gonna just go.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the reason why, like, if you ever watch like Twitch streamers or something similar to that, um, they will usually turn off their mic during that while, if they're doing a live stream or whatever like that, they'll turn their mic off when they're like entering in passwords or whatever like that, because yeah, if someone can be in the stream or whatever like that watching, and then they'll use whatever the program is and wait to catch that password, that username, and then boom, done. You can
That's
get in.
crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, so fact is or fiction is getting really close to fact, a
Yeah.
factual thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a program already out there that can do something similar to that.
Well, on a high level, you have to believe, on like a classified level, you have to believe that they have technology like that, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's crazy. I did not know that that type of tech was readily available, right?
Hmm.
Like, where would you find something like that?
I mean, you can literally Google it.
Dang.
I
Why don't
mean,
most people just save their passwords and click on it?
well, the thing is that sometimes you can't all. Sometimes your past saved passwords aren't always perfect, right? Or
Yeah,
you might have changed your password and you forgot to update it in all your stuff. You got to now do that.
jeez, that's
Mhm.
wild. So let me ask you this: getting back to the deep fake AI, do you think
Mhm.
that there's so Intel has a responsible AI council, right? Which is really interesting. So they obviously are one of the most prominent tech developers, right?
Mhm.
But what does that mean necessarily? Because one thing I was thinking about is these deepfakes are going to be harder and harder to tell apart as time goes on, right?
Mhm.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think you have to build some sort of I don't know, counteroffense, right? As much as you can. And yes, the deep fakes are going to get harder, but or going to get better, I should really say. But that just gives you more fuel to make your detection tool even better, right?
Yeah,
And it just becomes a thing. Because you'll never, security wise, you will never get to be able you're never going to be able to make get ahead.
Right.
You're
Well,
always going to have to be proactive,
yeah, you
or
will
not
get
proactive. You can get ahead, but you'll always be having to
like
move. You're always
react.
moving. Exactly. You're reacting a lot more than you're probably doing in proactive measures or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to create these things as early as possible to um be able to do what you can to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't continue to happen, or it gets to a point to where you're like, I can't tell, no one can, this other AI that I have can't tell as well. And then you're just kind of like hoping that it's true, right? You never want to get to that point. um or hoping that it's real, or hoping that other people can tell that it's fake. It's just they don't have like a full verification, stuff like
Right.
that. um and it also makes it to where, as you as the consumer, in some ways will probably need to do better at determining whether this is a real person or not, right?
Sure.
um it's it's just like, if you ever have been with your IT, or your information security people, in your organization, they send out those letters about phishing emails and all sorts of other stuff. And I would imagine it'd be something similar to that, um, that you would have to do for like deepfakes.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything that you see. Um,
Run
you
this
know,
program to double check.
exactly.
Or at
Run this
least
program.
I think a seamless way to do that would be like it's a plugin that's always on with every video you watch.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that as well.
Yeah, that because you don't want people are gonna get lazy with that. They're gonna turn on a video and they're gonna be like, I don't care. Like they're not
Hmm.
gonna turn on that plugin unless it's automatically on. So yeah, well, I guess what my main question um, what do you think the point of Intel's responsible AI council would be? Because obviously there's going to be more than just deep fakes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because there's a bunch of other threats out there. Obviously, we get concerned about the accuracy of ChatGPT, even though studies show it's generally more accurate than humans. But there's that to think about. There's AI music, obviously. But I kind of get the feeling that these are small scale kind of things. What do you think they would have such a council for?
Like on the big docket. Um, I would say you would have it to where you're trying to help steer the conversation for AI to not be as or used as maliciously as possible, or helping other organizations implement tools to make sure that if they are creating an AI chatbot or AI whatever, that it by the automatically. So say if someone was trying to build a competitive um AI to say like chat GPT, right? um you want to have that same council to be out there and saying, kind of being like a governing body, like a semi-governing body, and saying like, you should automatically put these specific restrictions into your AI development, whether
Hmm,
it be like no one can search up like ways to hack into someone's specific computer or something similar to that.
yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, that's at least for me. I feel like that's my thought process why they would use that council for, to help other companies as well as themselves, right? As they continue and um, start the process of creating AI and um, training AI and um, kind of moving it, pushing the boundaries they would be at the forefront of making sure that you're doing it in an ethical manner, right?
Yeah.
Because especially with the AI race that's kind of started, um, a lot of the companies, like I know for like Google, for instance, and Microsoft, um, got like a lot of flack for um, firing a lot of their AI ethics
Yeah.
um, developers.
Yeah.
So I can also see a governing body kind of, or a council or whatever like that, being in place to make sure that that doesn't happen for others, for other
Yeah.
companies, and for their own.
Well, yeah, definitely do. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't
No
was having
worries.
technical issues on my end, dude. Sorry about that.
No, no, no worries.
Um, but yeah, so I was going to ask you though, and I agree with all of that. But do you think that this, or maybe other things like this, are put in place to protect against AI that go rogue in any way? I'm talking about like a government AI
hmm
or a
kind of like a singularity moment, right?
yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Where it becomes sentient and it has an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z.
yeah,
Um, we're in such an early stage. I would imagine that that is on their mind, but I don't feel like that is kind of like the end all be all, if that makes any sense. Like
well, yeah,
I don't feel like that's their main purpose on that is on the docket. I feel like it may be a part of what they're working on, but I don't think it's like their main goal or something similar to that.
sure.
Um,
I agree with you. You never know what's going on in top secret world. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But I still, regardless of what it is, I still agree with you on Intel's plan for sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
I One thing I will say though, I do think that there is probably um within each of these companies that are designing AI, I think there is some sort of
like turn off
semi,
button.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, project to make sure that they can always have a switch.
yeah,
Um Now technically, right, as AI continues to advance and and grows and gets better, it becomes harder and harder to have an off switch. Um, as well as that, and this is something that I wanted to bring up very briefly, is that it also gets to a point to where that switch becomes more and more unethical.
yeah. Well, I guess actually, how do you mean that? Is it
Okay,
because you're taking away a life?
essentially. Well, I mean, because if you think about it, right, it's similar to like simulations, right? If we get advanced enough to where we can create literal simulations of our own world, um, an off switch at that point is killing people. It's like a mass murder.
Killing virtual people.
Virtual people, yes, but at that point, if you're able to say simulate our existing world, they may not be considered real, but they have thoughts and feelings that kind of go outside of the bounds of what you would traditional programming, right? Because it's going
Yeah.
to get to a point to where they're thinking, or it's going to, or they're advancing on their own without any guidance, assistance, baseline code. They're doing their own things, right?
For the group of 17, no guidance.
um
But why? I
and,
mean,
and and so if you were, because I mean, I guess it goes to the thought process of what do you deem as a person, right?
Not an e-girl.
Well, I mean, I'm not I'm not even saying an e-girl, but I'm saying like what do you deem as true consciousness and where is the point where consciousness isn't being simulated and actually is true and actually is real, right? Because and it kind of and that's where the whole singularity thing kind of comes into play, right? If you have an AI that becomes essentially conscious of who of what it is and who it is and what it can do, and it creates its own thoughts, its feelings, all that other stuff like that, is that considered a conscious being, a real being that has all of these things, and would it be considered killing that same being if you were to turn it off?
I don't know, man. I'd still hit the off switch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I mean, why does this situation have to be the Matrix?
I use simulations because it's easier to grasp in a concept, right? Because everybody is already scared of the whole, I don't know, like a iRobot situation where you have this central one or whatever like that.
I
Everybody is scared of
don't think
that.
it's gonna happen. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, I just we are literally creating AI that we're in the baby stages, right? Super duper baby stages. But I can see a world where AI advances to a point to where to meet the needs that we need it to do, or to meet the needs that we need, it needs to have some form of consciousness to be able to do the tasks that we would require it to do.
Like what? What would we need to do that I can't do now?
Okay, so think about this. If we want to go full self-driving, right? I'm just going to think of like
I'm getting combative over here, man.
no, I'm just thinking, man. I'm just thinking about it. But it goes there when you're driving, right? And someone walks out into the street.
Yeah,
You have a few things to think about, right? I'm going to swerve and dodge this person.
yeah,
But okay, I'll put it into the terms of this. You are driving, but you also have people in your car. You can either the child jumps across or jumps into the street, darts into the street, and now you have two options, right? You can dodge and potentially put yourself as well as the people that you are driving in danger, um, to make sure you don't run over that child. Um, and there's a higher likelihood of maybe dying if you were to avoid, right?
right.
Um, and or you have the thought process of don't want to, but keep going to preserve the people that you are driving. Okay. Um,
So what
Self-driving
you're
cars have to do that same calculation.
so what you're saying
Because
is Tesla self-driving software is subpar. That's what I'm hearing you say.
no, I'm just saying that you have to have an AI get to a certain point where it's making those decisions without being hard coded or without having hard codes put into it to where it just figures it out by itself. It's able to think through that process by itself without any sort of like handicap,
I
right?
know,
Because you can't, because the real world doesn't allow you to be able to like hard code every single situation that you could think of, right?
no, no, for sure. But
Right.
in that situation that you just gave, do you really want an AI to be the one that sacrifices you?
Well, I mean, but I mean, if we're going towards no, I don't want. You're right. I don't want an AI to be the person who or I don't want it to be to sacrifice me, but I also don't want it to sacrifice a child either, right?
Well,
So
yeah,
that's the
but you
so
can make that decision, is what I'm saying.
But how would but if it's a fully self-driving car, so there's no steering wheel, there's no pedals, there's no user input allowed, you don't make that decision anymore.
I
It
know
does.
the Apple cars, dude. They're coming, bro.
But that because I mean, like that's what true full self-driving autonomous vehicles are. There are no inputs whatsoever,
I know.
and we
Waymo has them.
not true. There's still a steering wheel.
Oh yeah, you're right. But
Yeah,
Apple's gonna have it, bro.
Apple's has. Who knows when they're gonna actually put that car out?
We'll probably
If
be
they
dead
do,
by the time they launch it, dude.
exactly. They keep losing freaking head people on that project, like left and right. Anyway, um, those are the type of decisions that I'm trying to say, right? I use cars because that's the most relevant one that's in some ways that is coming up, but there's all sorts of other tasks that we could have, right? Or if we had like humanoid robots with AI in them to do certain tasks or whatever like that, there's a certain point where we don't want to continuously give it instructions.
Yeah,
We want it
yeah.
to form its own opinion, and it may need to be able to form its own opinion. It will most likely, at a certain point, need to have a certain form of consciousness. Full consciousness, but some form of consciousness to be able to do those tasks in an efficient manner without us intervening so much.
I feel that. I also want to let you know
Mm,
the Apple cars apparently come out in 2026 now.
okay, 2026.
And man, does it look spiffy. Let's get a look at this car that will never come out.
Yeah, these good old renderings of the Apple car.
Yep, with Tim Cook fake in front of it.
Mm.
Look at that.
Mm.
It's not what it originally was.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a Tesla Model Y originally.
Yep.
Now it just looks like a Lucid
It
or a
does.
BMW.
Well, I was thinking like the Mercedes EQS. It kind of looks like that.
I could give you that. Dude, this just looks so stupid. Y'all see that on
Mm-hmm.
the screen? The Apple
Apple.
logo on the
Yeah,
front?
Apple.
Bro, I don't know how
I'm kind
many
of digging those wheels though.
the wheels look sick. And as somebody who just bought new tires, the tires look really great.
Yeah, they did, man. They got those Michelin Pilot Sports.
How can you tell from this angle?
Tread pattern, my guy. No, I don't know.
Hold up, we're investigating. Get these.
Are we? I don't think there's enough detail in that photo to actually be able to tell.
I don't know, man. You could be right. Jeez. Wow.
Impressive.
But yeah. Anyway, well, I hear what you're saying. I don't know, man. I don't want AI to become sentient, man. That kind of freaks me out. Not gonna lie.
Neither do I, but I do
But
think it's something to think about.
AI, if you hear this 30 years from now, bro, just let me know. Just let it be known that I was hoping for the best. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
I
trying to kill you.
support you, my guy.
I support you, AI. I want the best for you, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna throw this out there. I don't think it'd be in your best interest to become looking like me. You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be a waste of your time because you can navigate so much quicker just using technology, bro. No reason to become human, my guy. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. Well, anyway, I think we had a good discussion on this, man.
Mm-hmm.
A late night, Thursday morning, technically,
Mm-hmm.
podcast. We had a good one. Thank you guys for joining us on here. And thank you for being a part of the conversation. We always look forward to doing this every week, and we really appreciate you, everyone following us, old and new. We really appreciate it. So, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch up with you next week.